Hey YouTube, it's Kidneydog and I'm back. This time we're playing the Pokemon trading card game online. The reason for doing this, I'm taking a little bit of a break from the other game, but I'll be posting that. I apologize for not posting things last week. Anyways, let's get to it. So the Pokemon trading card game online, unlike the version that involves real hard cards that you hold in your hands, is free. You don't have to pay for it, which is wonderful. Even these ticket things, which you can purchase with real money, unlike most games where the things you purchase with real money are then used to help you out in terms of buying things in the store, like decks of cards as you can imagine, from what I can tell in the trading card game online, you can't actually use the in-game money bought with real money to purchase things like cards. In fact, everything in the store is bought with the Pokemon tokens, which are earned by playing the game. So it's not really pay to win. Where the tickets show up is if you try and enter tournaments, which I imagine have prizes and things like that. That's where you need tickets in order to enter the tournaments. I haven't done any of that yet, probably will in the future, but I haven't yet because I haven't really earned a lot of cards. So, that's what I want to talk about right away though. So if you're starting off this game, everyone starts off, from what I can tell, between me and Megawrite, we start off with the same things. When you start off, if they ask you about which kind of deck you want, I think they might ask you at one point if you want like a fire, water, or grass or something like that. I would highly recommend that you pick the basic blue because of the cards that are in it. So if you do that and you pick the basic blue, I'm going to show you how to make a deck that's pretty good, and I tend to win most of the time. So it can really help you out. And what's more, the deck that I build is a standard deck, so it is currently legal in the 2015-2016 season, which involves X, Y, and forward. So if we go to the deck manager, which is where we're currently at, and we go over to the theme decks, I happen to have it called Healing Waters. I'm going to show you what's in it and how you can build it yourself. So you might notice right off the bat, it's got one Articuno with the Find Ice and the Freezing Wind ability. It's got one Articuno that's got the Chilling Sigh and the Tri-Edge. The thing to note is that this Articuno, while it can do more damage but tends to be less reliable, whenever you knock out one of your opponent's prize cards, you pick up 2 prizes instead of 1, even though they're not an EX Pokemon. So this can be really useful if you want to get like ahead really quickly. Whereas the other Articuno can be useful if you're low on water energy cards, and it can also do some pretty good damage. You get 2 water energy down on it and throw a double colorless on it, and there by 3 turns you're doing 100 damage. So it's a nice fallback. On top of that, we have the Froakie, Frogadier, Greninja combo, where we start off and we're only going to have 3 of the Froakies, 3 of the Frogadiers. I only had 1 Greninja at the time that I made this deck, so that's all the Greninjas that are currently in it. I would recommend putting more. By no means is this deck polished and perfect. It's simply a deck that a person can construct upon immediately opening the game. You don't have to buy any decks of cards, you don't have to use any codes. From what I can tell, you can build this deck right off the start. So, 1 Articuno with the special ability, 3 Froakies, 3 Frogadiers, 1 Greninja, and 2 Lapras. The Lapras are extremely useful. They have a very high number of hit points, they don't require evolving, and what's more, their Hydro Pump can really get rolling on most people. So it tends to be a very useful card. Now the way this is set up to work, hopefully you can build up to the point where you have the Greninja, and you can use his Water Shuriken to constantly, send a water energy to the discard pile and do 3 damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon, wherever it might be. The Mist Slash is nice with only a 1 energy cost and 50 damage, ignoring weakness and resistance, things like that. However, usually Greninja is not something I am trying to attack with, it's just there for the ability. The ones that I want to be attacking with is ideally this Articuno, so I can be picking up multiple prize cards quickly. If I take out an EX, I'm picking up 3 instead of 2. So, 2 EX Pokemon and I'm done. It's a nice way to close out the game. And of course the other Articuno can be very useful as well with the high 100 damage output. The Lapras tends to be pretty useful in terms of getting rolling, and sometimes if you're having a hard start, you can start off with this, and once you have 2 energy down, you're doing 50 damage every time you use Hydro Pump. The Seafaring can also dig you out of a bad place if you lost a lot of Pokemon with energy on them. You can run you put a Lapras down with one water energy on it, and you use Seafaring, and if you have some good flips, you can pull up to 3 water energy cards out of your discard and put them back down, so you can use, one Lapras to power up another one, have 3 water on it, and now it can do 50 damage. Or, get 3 water energy down on your Articuno, and suddenly it's ready to use Tri-Edge. So on top of this, I am running 24 energy, which is a lot. Like I said, this deck probably could be polished quite a bit by simply, thinning out the energy. It's not too hard for me to get it because of that one Articuno's ability to go dig up 3 energy every time I use that attack. What's more, I am running 4 double colorless, which isn't terribly useful, because most of the attacks that I have, for instance, Greninja only takes 1 water. This Articuno takes a double colorless, would be nice. So it's useful for that, but for the other Articuno, I only need 1 colorless. So most of the time, the water is a bigger limitation. So if, later on when you start unlocking cards, if you unlock some of the special water cards, the special water energy, I would recommend replacing some of the double colorless with that, or maybe if you feel like you need a trainer card mixed in there instead. As far as the trainer cards are concerned, I'm going to let it load the pictures here. And like I said, by no means is this perfect or polished. I run 2 of the dive balls. These can be used to dig up your Greninjas and your Froakies, as well as, if you really need to dig up a Lapras or something, you can get it from this. I also run 4 of the energy retrievals. Since I'm discarding water energy every time I attack with the Greninja's ability, this can actually be really useful as well. So you can just kind of keep it going and going and going. And you can just attack from the back line. I run 4 of those. I ran 2 of the dive balls, I don't remember if I said the number. I run 3 of the escape ropes. These force my opponent to switch a Pokemon, and then I switch a Pokemon as well. So these can be useful early on to kind of, switch their hitter away. I run 1 Evo Soda. Probably be a good idea to run maybe 2 of these, but I'm really relying on the dive ball to kind of compensate for this, since the Evo Soda is more limiting. So ideally, if I had another dive ball, I'd actually replace the Evo Soda with the dive ball, because with the Evo Soda, I can just go get any of my water Pokemon. With the dive ball, I can go get any water Pokemon. With the Evo Soda, I have to specifically go look for the evolution of a Froakie or the evolution of a Frogadier. So obviously, the dive ball in that sense is more useful than the Evo Soda. But it can be useful for getting, an evolution down specifically. I do run a Lysander. This is useful, again, switching out an opponent's Pokemon, maybe pulling a weak Pokemon off the bench of your opponent. I run 2 of the Pokemon Center Ladies to heal up the damage. I run 2 Pokemon Fan Clubs to get those Lapras and Articuno out. I run 2 Stevens. These help me continue to have water energy in my hands, as well as draw the other supporter cards like Lysander and Pokemon Fan Club. I run 4 of the Tiernos. I'm not fond of discarding cards, so I don't tend to run things like Professor Sycamore. I'd rather just draw through more cards. I don't get as many as if, I was shuffling my hand with a Shauna, or, if I was going to the Professor Birch. But I'd rather not discard in the first place, if I don't have to. If you happen to, if you want to go full discard, it can actually work in your favor, especially the energy retrieval and stuff that I play in this deck. Additionally, I run 2 of the Rough Seas, picking up 30 damage off of, a water or an electric Pokemon every single turn. It should be noted that, that's every water Pokemon, so if you have a little damage all over your bench, you can heal all of that off. And on top of that, I also run 2 Healing Scarfs. So what you might notice is that between the 2 Healing Scarfs, the Rough Seas, and the 2 Pokemon Center Ladies, I have a lot of healing taking place. Now, my Pokemon don't tend to have a lot of HP, about 110, I think Greninja with the 130 being the highest. But you can really drag out fights with the extra healing that this deck provides. So with that in mind, like I said, right off the bat, when you start the game, you can build this deck. You don't have to buy any cards, you don't have to have used any tokens or anything like that, and right away you can build this and use it against people. And when I started playing, that worked pretty well. If you want to unlock things, if you're trying to do the challenges, you might know some level 0, I don't really know how to get the levels to change. But if you want to unlock these daily challenges and things like that, or right off the bat you want to earn some extra cards, what I would recommend for a new player to do is go to the Trainer Challenge. Obviously complete the tutorial if you don't know how to play, but if you do know how to play, the Trainer Challenges are still worth going to. Start off in the Gold League, you pick Next, And like I said, I would really recommend using the basic blue deck, which is mostly the Articuno, Lapras, Greninja, except it has mixed into it Spheal, Walrein, and the third evolution, which I can't remember at the moment, shame on me. Yeah, I can't remember it. But it has those mixed in along with some Simipours and stuff as well. So it has extra water Pokemon in there that you don't really want. And they're the things that I kind of pulled out of the deck when I was cleaning it to make it into a real working deck for the Versus sake, as well as making it tournament legal for the standard format. But you'd pick, basic blue, and you go here, and if you're just trying to earn some quick points, what I'd really recommend is taking on Mick, either in the early stage or in the later stage down here. You can see that, at this point it's a ×3 reward, but if I go back to the start, he runs all fire that are weak to water, so he'll be doubly effective, and using the basic blue deck, you can kind of roll out the damage often enough to really take him out quickly and for it to be a quick playthrough. So you can see the next reward is 10 tokens. That's actually pretty good. Most Versus fights that you finish, you'll actually take out 10 tokens it tends to be about an average. It's a decent prize. You might usually get 15, 20 or so more. So if you're really having trouble winning, it's worth, picking up the basic blue deck and just fighting Mick a whole bunch of times to pick up some tokens or pick up some prizes and things like that. So what I'm going to do is probably not fight Mick. We'll take on a real person now, and hopefully I don't run into like an Eveltel deck or something like that, as that can kind of run things flat. And I don't want a theme deck. I want to be picking my standard deck.